Sonic the Hedgehog is a franchise that has quite the extended universe. The Blue Blur has had many a new friend and foe created for him over the years, leaving quite a hefty list of characters that have become fan favorites and disliked memeable creations. And of course, people want to see some of them come to life in the upcoming Sonic movie. So today we are counting down our picks for the top 10 characters we want to see in the Sonic movie. Now let's be real though, the chances that we'll be introduced to more Sonic characters in this future film are really slim. Many believe, based on the information we've gotten from the trailer, this is a movie prequel to the first Sonic the Hedgehog video game, or at least is a loose adaptation of the first title, which didn't really have much of a plot, to be fair. If that's the case, there's a good chance that if the film manages to pull in money at the box office, we will very likely get a sequel featuring some of these iconic video game characters. So with that in mind, let's get to it. At number 10, Blaze the Cat. Blaze the Cat was first introduced in Sonic Rush. A pyrokinetic cat princess, she comes from an alternate dimension where she is the guardian of the Soul Emeralds, gems that are very similar to the Chaos Emeralds. She can create and manipulate fire and is often debated to be a close second or third when it comes to Sonic in terms of powers. Her sass and headstrong nature would be a good addition to the cast of characters and helps balance out the dynamic with the sometimes OP'd Sonic. Some fans even think she's the rightful love interest of choice for the Blue Blur, but the chances of her appearing in this film are slim to none, outside of some sort of Easter egg that is. Blaze, while quite popular, still isn't as big as some of Sonic's main companions, and lacks the history in his series to really be a selling point for moviegoers outside of more devoted Sonic the Hedgehog fans. And at number 9, Cream the Rabbit. Cream the Rabbit is arguably higher up on the iconic meter than Blaze the Cat, having existed longer in the Sonic universe than our previous number. Cream is essentially what Amy is to Sonic, except to Tails. She's Tails' female parallel, a curious character with some serious sidekick vibes. Cream first appeared in the game Sonic Advance 2 and has since appeared in almost every following Sonic title. The chances of her making an appearance in this film though are also unlikely. Having her pop up in a sequel though is something that wouldn't be surprising. And at number 8, Big the Cat. Okay, let's be honest, no one sincerely and non-ironically would want to see Big the Cat debut on the big screen. No one even wants him in the Sonic games. It's been years since he's actually made a Sonic title as a playable character. He gets minor cameos at best. But think of how outrageously hilarious it would be if Big the Cat just showed up in the new Sonic movie. If you thought Sonic looked bad, we can only imagine how Big the Cat would look. We can dream, right? Right? Give us that sweet Sonic train wreck, Paramount, come on, I know you wanna. And at number 7, Rouge the Bat. Rouge the Bat first hit the scene in Sonic Adventure 2, appearing as a jewel thief working part-time as a government spy. She's an enigma, having conflicting and complex motivations, although she does always seem to look out for herself first. She's smart, cunning, and often uses seduction as a tool. The sometimes villain, sometimes anti-hero could make for an interesting dynamic between Sonic and his pals if the story was to go in that direction. But Rouge is very much a character who would not appear solo. If anything, she'd be introduced in a storyline with Shadow the Hedgehog or maybe even Knuckles the Echidna. And at number 6, Metal Sonic. Metal Sonic is perhaps one of Dr. Robotnik's most sinister and brilliant inventions. A robot made in Sonic's image, Metal Sonic is determined and flat out obsessed with beating Sonic and being the better of the two, so much so that he's even gone against Robotnik's commands in order to try to take out the Blue Blur, something that he's never done successfully. Metal Sonic is perhaps one of the only characters on this list that has the best chance of making an appearance in the Sonic movie, if creators are intending to separate themselves from a game-by-game adaptation of sorts. Having Robotnik introduce Metal Sonic, either towards the end of the film in order to combat Sonic or at the very end of the movie, hinting at a sequel, could make for some solid plot points that have some major future consequences. And at 5, Uganda Knuckles. Just as an Easter egg though. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. Just remake the entire movie in VR chat and I think it might actually be better than the one that Paramount has made. Take notes, studio execs. Take notes. And at number 4, Amy Rose. Amy is one of the OG Sonic characters. First appearing in Sonic the Hedgehog CD, she's come a long way from the Hedgehog who went around being the self-proclaimed girlfriend of the Blue Blur. This pure-hearted and energetic character has long been a staple of Sonic's franchise, and to not see her be adapted up on the big screen would be a serious mistake on Paramount's part. That being said, it is very likely that this film will focus on the dynamic between Sonic and Robotnik instead, meaning it probably won't be until we get a sequel that we'll see Amy Rose make an appearance. And at number 3, Shadow the Hedgehog. Fan favorite Shadow the Hedgehog is a character that we'd both love to see be adapted, but also absolutely dread the idea. Based on how Sonic's design went, you could only imagine how wrong Paramount could go with a character like Shadow. Remember Shadow's solo video game where he used guns and stuff and was super edgy. Yeah, let's hope the studio execs don't find out about that one. Shadow is often considered to be Sonic's foil, and no doubt would make for an interesting dynamic between him and our beloved hero. It seems likely that Shadow is a character that would appear in a follow-up sequel film though, since his story arc that appears in Sonic Adventure 2, which is likely what would be adapted, is so rich and complex, and would definitely take the spotlight off of Robotnik, which definitely does not seem like a thing Paramount wants to do at this point in time. Jim Carrey's carrying the movie, and that's saying a lot. And at number 2, Knuckles. Knuckles the Echidna is part of the original trio of Sonic heroes. Initially appearing in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, he was painted as an antagonist of Sonic's, who was tricked by Robotnik into thinking that Sonic meant to steal the Master Emerald, which Knuckles was sworn to protect. Headstrong, serious, and short-tempered, he quickly became a fan favorite, with players using his wicked strength and spiked fists to cause some serious damage to foes in the early platformer title. So needless to say, he'd be a fan favorite in terms of characters fans would eventually like to see fighting alongside Sonic. Not to mention, thanks to the Uganda Knuckles meme, the character has experienced a surge of popularity in the past several years. Like 2 years really. So hey, who knows, maybe we'll just see some sort of nod to him in the film, just to appease fans globally. And finally, in at number 1, Tails. Tails is the most obvious answer on this list. Miles Tails Prower is the OG Sonic sidekick, a character steeped so heavily in the nostalgia of those who played Sonic the Hedgehog 2 back in the day as kids. The introduction of Tails allowed for the game to be a 2-player couch co-op, and although he might not be as cool as Sonic, the character has a massive following and is adored by many. He also adds a lot of flavor to Sonic's team, being the brains of many in operation, and an expert mechanic who can rival some of the crazy creations Robotnik whips up and tosses their way. While Tails is the most inevitable secondary Sonic character that could be added to the film's roster at some point, it seems likely that we won't be seeing him in this feature film, outside of perhaps a post-credit scene that hints to the future of the film franchise. Alright, there we have it friends, what other Sonic characters would you like to see up on the big screen? Which ones do you hope will never be adapted? Give us a shout in those comments below. If you like this video, spread the love, hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe to Top 10 Gaming for more lists just like this one. In the meantime though, thanks for watching friends, I'll catch you on the next video.